everyone, welcome to this God of War E3 2016 gameplay trailer Rewind Theater. I'm Megan Sullivan, and we have a lot to get through in this demo, including trying to figure out why Kratos is taking on this crazy Kratos-looking troll. Before we do that, I want to take it all the way back to the beginning of the trailer, because one of the things I love is this this foreshadowing of the troll fight up ahead. You'll notice this young boy is playing with two dolls. One looks like a troll doll. There you go, that's a better shot. And one looks like a Viking soldier. And I love that little bit of foreshadowing by Sony Santa Monica. That makes me really happy. But who is this young boy? Well, it turns out this young boy is actually the son of Kratos. Yes, the son of Kratos. This game clearly takes place years after the events of God of War 3, and you'll notice that Kratos himself looks very different. If we skip ahead just a little bit, you'll actually see Kratos appear from the shadows. You see he's bearded. You'll see he looks a little older, a little wiser, but he still looks pretty grumpy, and he's about to take his son hunting, which indicates to me that this is some sort of tutorial phase in the game. And immediately you notice that the camera is very different. It's closer to Kratos, it's tighter. It reminds me a lot of The Last of Us or Tomb Raider. You'll notice the environment is also very different. It's a very cold climate. Clearly, they're somewhere in Scandinavia. And you'll notice that Kratos no longer has his twin blades. He now has an axe. Blades of Chaos, long gone. He's got an axe. He's got a horn. Looks like he's got a satchel and possibly a dagger. You'll see his son looking at tracks right there. And this is sort of what happens. Knowledge gained, tracking plus 25. That's on the right hand of your screen. We've never seen that before. So obviously, Kratos can learn skills and abilities just by interacting with the environment. He also traverses the environment differently. Boom, he kind of jumps over that log. That's pretty cool. And he and his son continue to hunt down this ginormous elk. And they have a couple of special bonding moments. But unfortunately, they're not alone in these woods. If we skip ahead about here, you'll notice that they run into some serious trouble. There are enemies in this game, and what's interesting is they all seem to be fire-based. Pay attention to that, because there's fire-based, and then, boom, you'll notice that Kratos has his rune-infused axe, which looks to be ice-based. So thematically, that's very important, fire versus ice. You'll notice combat feels a little slower, a lot heavier than in previous God of War games. Doesn't feel quite as violent, but it's definitely there. Uh-oh, he's outflanked by enemies. What's he going to do? Boom! Right there, he throws his axe, pins that enemy to a wall, races up to this enemy, and starts wailing on him with his fist. So there's obviously melee combat in this game, which is really cool. And right about here, this is great. You get a good look at the Omega emblem on his leather jerkin, sort of a callback to the original God of War series. I love that. In the upper left-hand corner, you see his health and power meters. Green seems to indicate his health. There are these tiny runes on the bottom that seem to indicate weapons. And in the middle, there's a lambda symbol, which is a symbol of the Spartans. That fills up over time and allows him to go into beast mode later on. You notice that enemies, however, don't have health orbs coming out of them. How is he going to get his axe back, by the way? Kratos, what are you going to do? Boom! Right there, you saw him retrieve his axe with a quick press of the button. You can get your axe back. Really handy later on. Right there, above Kratos, look to be some letters. Again, runes are a big part of this game. Call to action. Anyone who knows what those letters say, please let us know in the comment section below. You'll be my hero. So as Kratos continues to go along, he and his son head towards a fortress. So right here, you see this stronghold, and you'll see coming up, you'll see a shield and some spears, indicating that this is very much a place to defend, possibly against these enemies and this ginormous troll. And as Kratos and the troll confront each other, some people say that the troll is saying the word Valhalla, which is the dwelling place of the Nordic gods, indicating perhaps that Kratos is once again in trouble with the gods. And now, you'll notice that Kratos just threw his bow and arrow to his son, which makes me wonder, is his son the Ellie to Kratos' Joel? That's the Last of Us reference. And here we go, we have this tremendous boss fight coming up. Immediately, Kratos gets staggered by the enemy. He's also getting railed on. But he has the ability to sort of dodge and roll, get close up again to the enemy. But you'll notice that the enemy is fire-based. Again, there's a lot of ice and fire references here. If we skip ahead just a little bit, again, we're going to see Kratos' son do something really, really cool. I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. So while Kratos is sort of struggling against this enemy, you'll see that his son steps in to help. And what's really cool about this is right there, you'll see his son has a lightning ability with his bow and arrow. I find that really cool. It's a little bit different from Kratos' ice-based attack. So there's definitely some sort of elemental magic going on. You see Kratos throw his axe right there. Now he retrieves it, jumps into the air, and then ground pounds the enemy to stagger him, which is really awesome. We haven't seen that before in a God of War game either. Right here, you see the meter is filled in the upper left-hand corner, and now Kratos can summon his Spartan Rage. So he's still a very angry person. You just summon it with L3, R3, and he doesn't immediately actually call upon it. He waits for this guy to stop throwing a temper tantrum. But watch how when Kratos summons his rage, ice flurries sort of gather around him. Again, there's that ice and fire element to the game. This is probably the most God of War part of the trailer. You'll see that he climbs up onto the boss. He starts knocking out his teeth. This very much reminds me of previous God of War boss fights. It's really an interesting callback. And then again, his son has the ability to possibly finish this fight, except we're still in the tutorial phase, and instead he hits his poor dad in the chest. Ouch. Oops. But Kratos finishes the troll off, and yay, victory. Now if we skip again ahead a little bit, you see them traversing the environments. And right here is very interesting. Watch what happens when he tries to target the elk. The son tries to target the elk, and you see that there's a target meter right there. And you'll notice it turns red as you sort of line up your shot right there. That's really cool. That's obviously something you'll be able to do in the game later on. They kill the elk, and you'll notice that the elk is also ice-based. I don't know if anyone else caught that, but I thought that was sort of interesting. As they come across this poor, beautiful animal, you'll notice that he's glowing blue. That's definitely a callback to sort of everything that is good seems to have ice, and everything that is bad seems to be fire. You see this sort of awkward bonding moment between Kratos and his son. We know Kratos is a good father. We saw that with his daughter in the previous God of War games, but you'll notice he has very different interactions with his son. And then finally, at the end, Kratos says, "You're ready, my son. Ready for what? Ready to take on possibly the Norse gods? We don't know." But way in the background, we see what looks to be the equivalent of Mount Olympus, perhaps Valhalla. That's sort of a guess on my part. But even more cool than that, coming up, you see a dragon. Yes, a dragon is in this game. Hopefully we'll be able to ride it or fight it. What do you guys think of the new God of War? Let us know in the comment section below, and for all your God of War needs, keep it locked to IGN.